Good morning. This is Lisa Lanasa coming to you with day 4 of our Diverge Spring Training Series. It's a mouthful. Anyway, I wanted to do a quick recap of what we've talked about so far this week. On Monday, we had our introduction, and I've been posting questions every day on the videos asking that you post a reply to those questions on Facebook. And we've had some great responses so far, so thank you very much for the people who have been participating. And I'd really like to see some more people answering the question on Facebook. We do have a surprise gift for the person who's commenting consistently. And we have a few people that have been posting on every question so far. So we thank you for that. And like I said, I really want to see more people participating here. It just makes it more fun the more people we have in our conversations. So anyway, to recap what we've been talking about this week, Monday I had the introduction video and I posed a question to you. What are the things that you want to learn most during this week? Or what are the things that you have the biggest challenge? And Tuesday then we talked about micro goals and how these pie in the sky goals really are unattainable in many cases. Or I should say we freak ourselves out because the goal is too big and we don't know how to reach it, and we ultimately get into our old bad habits. So focusing on micro goals can help us get through the day and get closer to those ultimate big long-term goals. Now yesterday, Wednesday, we talked about the idea of the crap or cone video, and happiness is where we place our focus. And the question on Facebook then was, what are you most proud of? Where are you going to focus your attention? Let's try to focus it on the positive rather than the negative. And now today, based on all of those and based on what I want to talk about for the next 2 and a couple weeks, or 2 weeks and a couple days here, I should say, is the idea of positivity and how our mind is more powerful than anything we have ever imagined. Now, I am going to go over our 5-minute mark today. This is a big topic, and people have, philosophers have discussed this for centuries. This is the whole basis of the book and the movie, The Secret, and the idea of manifesting our ideal outcomes. Now, I was recently featured on Insulin Nation talking about how I grew up with diabetes, type 1 diabetes in my family. My mom was diagnosed with type 1 when I was 5, and my older brother was diagnosed when he was 13 and I was 10 years old. And how their perspective, particularly my mom, because she took the lead in all of this, how her perspective really framed my viewpoint of diabetes. And as I was writing the article or the essay for Insulin Nation, I was also thinking about the contributions that my dad had to this feeling of, we have the power to control this. It's mind over matter, which we've always heard before. But my dad really is a very introspective, very intelligent guy, and he always would recite a certain poem to me by an English author and poet named James Allen. And I have notes here in a book here. I'm going to reference some of these things today, so this is a little bit unusual for me. I usually get my outline and talk off the cuff here, but I have to read a few things to you. So one thing my dad always focused on was this mind over matter idea. And of course, I never really got it as a kid. As an adult, I've had a lot more time to think about it and to really put it into action in my own life. And I think that this might be of benefit in the conversation here today. So James Allen, in the poem, A Man Thinketh, As a Man Thinketh, and it was written in 1902 and updated a little bit for today's language. So I'm going to read a variation on his poem that has been adapted. But it says, mind is the master power that molds and makes. We are mind, and evermore we take. The tool of thought, and shaping what we will, brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. We think in secret, yet it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. Environment is but our looking glass. A looking glass is a mirror. So what we think in secret actually comes to be in our world, and our environment is reflecting back what we bring to it. And that's incredible. That's incredible. We really are the masters of our environment, of our destiny. And a lot of that has to do with attitude. And I know people might argue, what, you can't think yourself out of a bad situation. True, but you can choose how you react to that situation and what you decide, the energy you decide to put forth in regards to that situation. So, in a sense, we can think ourselves out of a situation. Now, I know it's crazy, but certainly a mind shift, and it's a matter of thinking positively, definitely. Thinking out of the box, which is another thing my dad talks about a lot. Think out of the box. And thinking creatively and really putting those thoughts into use, into problem solving. And problem solving is what we're talking about here with low carb and diabetes. It's all problem solving. And using our data, using our inputs to affect our data, and then making changes based on that. So I urge you to think about this a little differently. And now, I was just reading, as I was starting this series earlier this week, reading a book called Women, Food, and God by Geneen Roth. Now, it doesn't have that much to talk about God. It just talks about spirituality and once again, what we put forth into the world. But I want to read a passage here from Geneen Roth. Change, if it is to be long-lasting, must occur on the unseen levels first, with understanding, inquiry, openness, with the realization that you eat the way you do for life-saving reasons. Now, that struck me, of course. Talking about positivity, talking about my parents, my mom's approach to diabetes management, my dad's approach to mind over matter and problem solving. This fits in perfectly. So, with understanding, inquiry, and openness, it must occur on the unseen levels first if we are to start a change in our lives. And so I want to think about that today. And talking about that, also talking about the idea of mind over matter and low carb eating and micro goals and where we place our focus. We need to get our head in the game. And we've all heard that before too. Athletes do this very well, literally in practice, figuratively in concept. But they meditate, they envision what's going to happen. They envision hitting that ball or making that pass. They study it. They use their inputs to change their outputs. And one of those great inputs that we have, besides food and medicine, insulin in our case, or metformin, or all of the other sorts of diabetes management medications that we could use. We have food as our input, we have medication as our input, we have water, we have sleep, we also have thoughts. So I urge you today to use your thoughts to change your outputs. That's the big challenge. So now our question, what should our question be today? I usually think our question is something having to do, of course, with our lesson. I've run a little bit long here today, and I really just want you to think about this. How can our inputs, our thought inputs, change what our outputs are going to be? So without getting too new agey, spacey, loosey-goosey here, I want you to talk about on Facebook how you're going to change your thoughts today. And it could be what you're going to focus on. It could be, I'm going to take a couple minutes of quiet time and really think about how I'm dealing with diabetes and how I'm dealing with low carb eating and making sure I'm really in the game here. It could be I'm going to focus on yoga. Yoga is all about mind-body connection, and so is Tai Chi. So there are several other of the Eastern, Far Eastern sports or activities all about mind-body connection. So on Facebook, please leave a comment after today's video talking about your mind-body connection, how you might change your thoughts to affect your outcome, things that you might focus on. I'm leaving it a little open today for the conversation. But let me know what you're thinking about this and how you can place this lesson into your life. So thank you very much. I've gone way over time here, and I look forward to continuing the conversation on Facebook and joining you tomorrow for day 5 of our spring training series. Keep your head in the game, and we'll see you on Facebook. Bye-bye.